I can display specific cells from a table, only when I know that this will be the instance ID. Now you could say, well, at runtime, maybe I want the user to configure that value. So instead of having hard-coded interface 1 here, maybe they want to select, I would like to receive information for that interface. It's not a name, it's the instance number. So I'm going to have a filter on my parameter itself. Let's use our IF type for interface 1 for an example. So instead of having this hard-coded, I would like to use a wildcard. This needs to be filled in at runtime. So how do we define this wildcard? We have a star. This will be filled in with the instance value. So it's not the row number, it's the instance value, the primary key. And I'm going to link this to a parameter. Let's use parameter ID 100, so it's something completely different. It's not linked to our data source. It will be filled in by a user to select what interface instance value we would like to retrieve. So let's just apply this to our interface 1 type. It will no longer be interface 1. Let's just call this interface X for now. So we can clearly see that's the one we are adjusting with a filter. We're linking this to a parameter 100. I have not created it. So let's go and create this. Let's collapse the measurement and use our snippets to create the parameter. It's just a number parameter. It will be our instance 1, 2, 3. It's an interface number. Should be or could be a string as well. Remember, we could have value 1 dot 1 dot whatever. That's text. Let's go for parameter ID 100. Let's call this my interface selection. I'm going to skip the information for now. It will not have a unit, and maybe I just want to select something between 1 and 5. This is just for the example purpose. I will need to be able to write this, so let's add a writable parameter linked to this. This has nothing to do with my data source. It's just going to be a user selecting a value and setting it on the parameter. So let's use the setter. No extra logic is needed. The setter will simply copy the value that the user fills in into the writable box and copy it into the read parameter. Let's add it on the display so I can really do something with this. For now, I'm going to disable the trending. And let's have a look on our element. We have our type interface X. We have our interface selection. And as you can see, this is not initialized. Why is it not initialized? Let's go and have a look in the stream viewer as well to know what's going on. Maybe let's just clear this information, clear all, and see what's going on. Let's give it a moment. I have my group 10, my group 11. It was the IF1, and I have here an error. Now it's quite clear why we have an error. I have not selected what interface yet, so I have my column defined. This is the OID of my column, but I haven't defined what instance. So let's fill in something in here and see what pops up. In our stream viewer, you can already see I have my interface 1 there, and I have my interface 2. Now, at startup, it would be nice if we also have some information there that it wouldn't send out a request with an incomplete OID. So let's add a default value in here. Let's go and have default value 1 in our parameter 100. Let's publish this again. So when nothing has been filled in into this parameter, it will use the default value 1. And that will be the one that is sent out to our element as well. Imagine I would change this to default value. Let's use 5 in this case. Let's just send it out again. Have a look. It's now 5. Now, it's not really nice that when I would restart, let's just change this so you can really see the effect. I have changed this to poll interface 2, and when I restart my element, it's not that nice that it would set it back to 5. I have configured it, so don't change it. To do this, I need to store this information, so save it. Whenever you want a user to be able to configure something and it's not linked to your data source, make sure you consider saving it. Do you want this change to be available after restart? Yes, we'll then save it. No, then don't save it. So I forgot if I already published. Let's publish again and have a look. So I have my interface information. Let's restart and see what's happening. Let's change this. So my default value was 5. Let's change this to 1. Restart. And I have my value number 1. So let's go back to the logic one more time. Have a look how we defined the filter. We have, or we are polling information. Let's go to the timer. We're polling our information via group. Group will retrieve, we adapted it on parameter 13. It will retrieve information from this particular column. This is a table. This is my OID of the column. And from what row? Well, the row is a wildcard, and you will find the instance value in parameter 100. And we will go to parameter 100. We will see that by default, it has the value 5. So interface instance 5 will be retrieved. And I can store this information. When I update it as a user, it will keep that information after a restart. So this is the conclusion of having a user selection. So you could say I want to retrieve information for output 1. I'm going to display it. I'm going to retrieve information for output 2 and display it. Or you could even have the selection as part of your bus address. So when you create your element, it will use that information to display your information of a table as standalone parameters.